Good afternoon, guys. My name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. In today's live, we will be discussing the most recent immigration news, United States Supreme Court decisions, what's going to happen tomorrow in Florida, and I will be asking some of you guys questions. So do not forget to join and type up your question in our chat. So after my little presentation, I will be able to refer to it. Say hello, let me know where you're watching from. Do not forget to like and share this video so more people can join. The more the merrier. And of course, I'll be always happy to answer your guys' questions. So I hope you did not miss me too much. I'm a little bit late this week with my life, but here I am. And we're going to be discussing, as I said, the most recent immigration news. You can ask me any immigration questions you feel like asking. Well, make sure, the appropriate, of course, immigration related, very, very important. And I promise you that I will try to help you out as much as I can. So let's start. United States Supreme Court is on a roll. It issued a number of important decisions, not only for the immigrants, but for Americans as a whole. But one of the decisions is especially of interest to us. It's United States versus Texas. United States versus Texas. Why is it important? Because it discusses prosecutorial discretion. If you recall, a couple of years ago, the Biden administration stated that it will not be deporting anybody and anyone who does not have documents status in the United States, but rather will focus on those who present danger to national security or public safety. Prosecutorial discretion memo. I think every immigrant knows about that. But what happened next was unexpected. Well, it was expected. Texas and Louisiana sued the Biden administration and stated that, well, you cannot do that. You must deport everybody who does not have status, and you cannot focus on a specific group of people. You cannot take them out of this deportation mill. Of course, a lawsuit followed, and here we are about 2 years later. We have our answer. The United States Supreme Court stated exactly that the government or administration, executive branch, may by itself, however they feel like it, enforce the laws, provided that they do not overreach their authority. As such, we are going to be waiting now for the Supreme Court to issue a judgment in this case. And as soon as it issued, we are expecting that the Biden administration is going to reinstate the enforcement priorities. Why is it so important? Well, it's important because if the enforcement priorities are in place, it is clear as to what you need to argue if you do not want to be deported in case you are detained or in case you have an order of removal against you already and you're filing for something called administrative stay of removal. And by the way, just so you understand, Biden administration is actively deporting people with orders of removal, those with criminal convictions, but some people are lucky enough to have a good lawyer who can argue for them that they qualify for this administrative stay of removal. And now you know that as soon as that decision goes into effect, your lawyer should argue prosecutorial discretion once it's reinstated, prosecutorial discretion factors as well. So it's a good decision overall for immigrants, at least under this administration. Of course, if administration changes, the same decision stands. And if administration would like to do something that we do not like, we will have to have the consequences of this decision as well, meaning that executive branch, as decided by the United States Supreme Court, has power to enforce the laws the way they believe is appropriate, provided they stay within certain lawful frames. So it's very, very important. Of course, here I'm going to mention another decision that I'm not happy about by the United States Supreme Court, but cannot do anything about it. is the decision not to forgive student loans. One of the major, perhaps, proposals that Biden administration tried to achieve was to give relief from debt to all students in the United States that meet certain income guidelines. And unfortunately, the United States Supreme Court decided that it's not going to be the case. I think that many immigrants are affected by this unfortunate ruling as well. Now we're going to move to my next little update that I wanted to share with you. And of course, it concerns Florida and what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, if you are from Florida, or maybe you know somebody from Florida, that terrible Florida anti-immigrant law goes into effect. Under this law, businesses that employ undocumented people or employ contractors that who are undocumented, if they deal with government contracts, if the business has government contracts, will face tremendous sanctions, will lose their licenses, and will face fines. In addition, there are other parts of this proposal, anti-immigrant law, where immigrants will not be able to legally drive if they have license from a different state, or they do not have driver's license that is real ID compliant, and of course the criminal penalties as well. I'm not sure if the criminal penalties related to transporting of an immigrant across the state lines coming on July 1st. I'm not going to lie, but this is something that is very scary. And it's not only scary for me or to me. As you see, many news outlets report that people are actually moving out from Florida. And I don't think that this decision is going to benefit, this law is going to benefit anyone, to be honest. As I see it, it's going to harm many businesses, it's going to harm many families. Imagine that you may have a family member, not the entire family, a family member who doesn't have papers, such as very common case with parents, right? You may have a family where parents don't have papers, but kids do, and now the family is going to be torn apart because of this law. I don't think it's a good idea. It was a good idea. I don't think it's going to make DeSantis more popular or is going to somehow elevate him to win elections. I think it was a mistake to sign this proposal into law. And we're going to see what's going to happen. So far, I saw reports that people are actually leaving Florida. If you know somebody from Florida in this situation who is afraid or who is making this choice right now, let me know what you think. But we're going to see how the situation is going to unfold. I also saw in the news that sheriffs of some counties in Florida speak up and say that they will not be focusing on immigrants specifically, and they will not be making immigrants their target. I do not know what to tell you. State troopers, state police is different from ICE. You need to know that. But at the same time, I also know that certain officers, certain people with power, if they want to exercise it against immigrants for whatever reasons, they will do so. So tomorrow is the day, and then we're going to see how the situation is going to be unfolding. And now, guys, I'm going to be answering your questions. Hi, Ahmed. Hi, Romeo. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. Hi, Imani. Hi, Amar. Hi, Akram. Let's take this first question. How can a green card holder bring their parents and siblings to the United States? The truthful answer to your question is that you can't. Unfortunately, the United States immigration laws do not allow a green card holder to petition for their parents or siblings. Can you imagine? It means that the siblings or parents will have to find a different way, perhaps investment route or employment route. Maybe they're lucky enough to win a DV lottery, but the green card holder himself or herself will not be able to petition. Hi, Dolores, watching Flow from LA. Yay, I've never been to LA. I should come one day. Should just check it out. Hi, Tenzin. Any update on asylum backlog in New York? Not really. I do have an update on asylum, sort of, kind of situation on courts. I just saw an article by one of the reporters that I actually spoke to earlier this week, and apparently some people miss their court dates in uh, Federal Plaza because they cannot enter the building. They cannot enter the building. I think it happens mostly to those who are not represented because most lawyers are allowed to appear online, so you don't have to stand in that line trying to enter the building. But some people really suffering from the backlogs because there are so many people who are trying to enter the building. They cannot due to the long lines, and they miss their court dates. As a result, you know what happens to you, right? If you miss your court date, you are ordered deported automatically, and it's a very sad situation and really unnecessary. Hi, Duke, watching from Seattle, Washington. Yay. Hi, Frank from Ghana. Hi, Manny. Hi there. How is going? What's happening about the Dignity Act? Dignity Act, Citizenship Act of 2023 are under consideration. Currently, nothing is really happening. The way the law works is that first there is a proposal. And by the way, on my website, shautsova.com, I have a little comparison between the two, Dignity Act and Citizenship Act. Citizenship Act, by the way, has better proposals. Apart from proposal related to just undocumented people, it also has proposals that would fix a lot of holes in the United States immigration system. So I like Citizenship Act much better. But the way the law works is that first there is a proposal, but then it has to travel through different committees. It's like getting clearance between these different committees. So once that is done, only then we can expect this law to be voted on. But currently, there are no updates as to which committees it traveled through and what's going on. So I will not be able to share anything meaningful, unfortunately. But hopefully, it's not going to be off the table. I know it's not going to be off the table, especially before the elections. Hi, Malik. Anything on Dreamers? Not really. I know that we are still waiting for some decisions from the United States Supreme Court, potentially something affecting DACA. So we're going to stay tuned and see what's going to happen. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Nizam. Hi, Hafiz. I need visa. Hi, Hafiz. I live in Istanbul, but I need to remove. Not sure what your question is, so please restate it, and I'll be happy to answer it. Hi, Samuel, please give me an update on Dignity Act. We just discussed it. Basically, there is no better update to my knowledge, apart from the fact that the final text has not been drafted yet. Hi, Manny. Hi there. I just wanted to know that I have a U visa application pending still. Will I be able to claim the U visa if I leave the country? If you leave the country, you will, okay. So for the U visa pending, you do not have an opportunity to file for advance parole. As such, if you leave the country, I think you're going to lose your line in the long U visa line, which is very long, which is 5 to 7 years. So somebody who filed for the U visa cannot travel without losing that. But it's possible, to my knowledge, to file a petition when you're overseas. Now, I never had a situation where a person who filed for U visa just left the United States. Just using the logic of all other applications of this sort, I would say that you would have to refile if the crime was committed in the United States. But then remember also one very important thing. Do you recall when you filed for the U visa, you had a U visa certification that was valid for, if I'm not mistaken, 6 months. Now, you, if you would like to refile your U visa, would have to get a new U visa certification, right? So if you leave the country, there will be a mess. You will have to most likely refile your case, and you will need to obtain a new U visa certification. That's how I would analyze this situation. If you have a different experience, please let me know. Hi for Sid. Hi Lena. Since October 2022, I did my asylum interview. No decision. What action can I take? Guys, when you do not have decision after your asylum interview, I would strongly suggest that you follow up with asylum office. You maybe use a congressman, and if the decision has not been made for longer than a year, then you can file a lawsuit. Okay. But if it's less than a year, I wouldn't be filing any lawsuits. Remember that the lawsuit, all it does, it forces the government to make a decision, but it does not mean that the decision is going to be a positive for your decision. So I'm not really sure if it's a good or bad specifically for your case to be in this situation. Because imagine there is a referral or denial. You'll be placed now in removal proceedings. Are you ready for that? So usually you would not want to sue the government right away. You would want to give them every chance possible to make a decision on your case without a lawsuit. Hi, Sasha. Can people from other states go visit Florida? We are immigrants. Uh, because of this law that we discussed at the beginning, if you are an immigrant without status, undocumented, I would never recommend somebody to go there right now. Why? Because I do not know what can happen to you. Unfortunately, Florida took this very anti-immigrant approach, and I would not recommend any immigrants without status to go there, because I'm sure that there will be some law enforcement officials that will think that now they will be targeting immigrants, right? And if you don't have status, if you come into the light of the law enforcement this way or that way, for example, you do not have a real ID, driver's license compliant with real ID, you can be placed in removal proceedings if you're referred to ICE. So, in my view, I would stay away from Florida right now. We'll see what the Florida is going to say about that. I'm sure they will make some sort of a statement saying, no, we're not going to target you unless you work here legally. You can come and visit and spend your money. I don't know. We're going to see, right? But common sense tells me to tell you not to go there. Hi, Masih. Hello. I'm an Afghan citizen and a special immigrant visa applicant. Could you please help me to get home approval? And if you cannot, then how can you help to get USA legally? Unfortunately, I cannot get you that approval. You should work with the people that you assisted, if it's all possible. I know that many special immigrant visa applicants are in a difficult situation. But if you know somebody in the United States, organizational individual, who can file humanitarian parole for you, that may be solution for you, at least for now. Humanitarian parole for citizens of Afghanistan. IRGs had asylum and core final hearing in April. Judge informed me to come back mid-June for a decision. 2 days before the decision hearing, our CVD call from judge office's decision will be mailed. All right, so you need to wait for your decision, right? Nothing to comment yet. You're going to see what the judge stated. Hopefully, one of your applications would be approved. Maybe asylum, because usually if the judge grants core application, they may indicate that they will grant it, but they cannot actually grant it until the visa number is available. And currently the wait time is about 3.5 years. So you can let me know next week, perhaps, if you connect to my live and let me know what happened. But you should receive your decision soon. Hi, Susanna. What is going on with pending asylum at USCIS since 2015? That's awful. You've been waiting for 8 years. That's a tough situation, but nothing really. If you've been waiting for 8 years, my prediction that you should be called for the interview within the next year, unless something happens and the backlog is going to grow even further. Imagine you have to wait for 10 years for your asylum interview. This is crazy. But one thing that I find commonly is overlooked by people like yourself is that you guys do not work on your asylum case. You filed it long time ago, and now you're all focused on the fact that you do not have the interview date. But remember, when you will be called for that interview, you have to be ready. You have to have the latest country conditions, perhaps an expert report, update your statement, update your witnesses' statements. So focus on that in the meantime. It's extremely important. And if you have good reasons, maybe health related reasons, you can always ask that asylum office expedites your interview. But do not do that unless you are prepared for it. And I'm going to take the last question for today. I have to pay to renew my TPS for El Salvador now, but I already paid for renewal for my employment authorization card back in December 2022, and it's still pending. Do I have to pay for the work authorization card again? El Salvador was recently extended for TPS. The instructions stated that you have to re-register, so you will have to pay. With a work permit, I cannot tell you without seeing your paperwork. My guess would be that if you would like to have the work permit, which will be effective until the end of the new designation period, you will have to file for it and apply for it and pay the fee as a result. That would be my guess, but again, I do not see the paperwork. Most likely, yes. So why don't you check with the people who help you? Usually, I know that people for TPS, they're using pro bono services, and I'm sure they will be able to let you know what's happening. Because I think what you were filing for and paid for was based on temporary extensions of TPS for El Salvador. But now remember, it, administration again designated El Salvador or redesignated for 18 months. Before it was 6 months increments. So that would be my answer to the best of my ability without seeing paperwork. And again, I share here just quick advice. Do not want to, mislead anybody or provide you with incorrect information. So I'm just trying to do my best. So guys, thank you very much for joining today. It was a pleasure as always. If you would like me to answer some of your questions, please connect next week. I'll be happy to do so. Next week, hopefully, we're going to have more updates from the United States Supreme Court and perhaps from USCIS as well. I hope it will be pleasant surprises versus unpleasant surprises. You let me know what topics you would like to discuss. Don't forget to like and share this video, and I hope to see you next week.